Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 13th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna, maybe a little wine, maybe a little garlic bread. Hopefully the day treated you well. As for me, as for mine, it was a pretty good day. I woke up, got myself together, got myself back to work after a 3-day weekend. And overall the day was solid. It was good. Not too much work, but enough work to keep me where I wanted to be at the Crusher all day. Then post work, we go to the gym. Gym was overall good for a Monday, fine for a Monday. We got in, we got out, and came home. I immediately took a nap because I was pretty tired. Got up, then had a stretch, had my snack, and we did some research for today's episode. So yeah, overall it was a good day. I would say the only thorn that I'm dealing with, grappling with, is I mentioned this I think a week or so prior. I've been having some mouth pain that has just been kind of just going on and on. I was hoping that it would subside or just be super duper manageable, and I wouldn't really think about it, really wouldn't notice it, whatever, fine. Not so much. I'd say the pain is kind of sitting at a constant 1 or 2 that I'm kind of constantly dealing with throughout the day. It's definitely gotten to a point where it's the first and last thing I think about, which is that means it's a problem. So that's fun. I looked up today, just kind of doing some napkin math, and I'm that's probably going to be somewhere around with my insurance, I don't know, maybe around $1,000 if I'm lucky, maybe a little under that, which, yeah, I got that lying around. So, that's been on my mind a little bit there, but I would say that, as of right now, I'm still able to eat. I'm still able to function okay. So, knock on wood, we can just keep that going until I can maybe cobble together some money to deal with that. And also, taking off a little bit of time too. This is probably my second time getting a wisdom tooth extracted. Yeah. So, because that's what I think it is. I think it's just I have an official impacted situation on my left side. So yeah, that's fun. Love that for me. But no, overall, I'm trying not to complain. I'm trying not to be negative. I'd say for a Monday, this was pretty good. Pretty lasagna. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Oh. There's a part of me that would love to start this episode off talking about the Trump AI image that got posted. I think, I don't know, maybe it was Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever. I guess we are talking about it now. But essentially, Pope Leo and Trump got into a bit of a row, bit of a little talky talk. And Leo's hey, I'm not scared of the U.S. administration. I'm not trying to debate with Trump. I'm just saying that, going to blow up a whole civilization is wrong. War is wrong. The shit that you expect a pope to fucking say. And Trump was not really having that. He wasn't really liking that. And in the midst of all this, he posted this, crazy image of him. There's no other way for me to describe it as him as Christ, as, the man himself, old JC. And he's healing this sick man. And, it's a whole mosaic. I mean, please look it up. He's taken it down off of his True Social because he caught some backlash over it. But it just looks great. Also in the background, there's a Gundam Angel. I don't know. He's got some Gundam Wing shit going on back there with some U.S. soldiers and shit. It's a crazy AI ass image. But he does taco on it. He does fold a bit. And then when asked about it, he's like, "Oh, people are saying that like I think I'm Jesus or something," and they're like upset. No, 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 no. I'm not portraying myself as Jesus. I'm portraying myself as a doctor healing the sick. Like, brother, you made yourself Christ. You made yourself fucking TC. So what are we talking about? Like, it's just weird some of the things that he won't stand on. But I think he just read the room and like his Christian base were like, "Oh, okay, well, that's a little disturbing. Some might say just disgusting, because that's going to rile them up. It's going to upset them. But once again, to someone like Donald Trump, he doesn't give a fuck. This is about him. And you piss his ass off, he's going to try to stun on you. So he found that image, or maybe even had the image made. I don't know, but it was very funny. But that's not why we're here right now. We got to talk about, like, real fucking news. Unfortunately. All right. Also, this is a bit of a breaking news. Brian Hooker, we talked about him yesterday. His wife is missing. He has been implicated in that. He's been released from the Bahamas. We're not really going to get into the details of that. That just happened, and we just talked about it. But I figured, like, hey, worth noting for the pod. But yeah, let's get into the story at hand from ABC News. Stepbrother charged with murder, sex abuse, and teen girl's cruise ship death. A 16-year-old boy has been charged with murder and aggravated sexual abuse in the death of his stepsister during a family cruise vacation, the Department of Justice announced Monday. Anna Kepner, 18, died on the Carnival cruise ship Horizon in November while the ship was in international waters and heading to Miami, prosecutors said. The DOJ alleged the stepbrother sexually assaulted and intentionally killed Kepner. The Florida high school senior died from mechanical asphyxiation, officials said. The boy was initially charged as a juvenile, prosecutors said. He's now been indicted as an adult by a federal grand jury on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. Anna Kepner's father, Chris Kepner, is married to the suspect's mother, Chantel Kepner. Christian Chantel Kepner said in a statement, "Our family is devastated by the loss of Anna and continues to grieve this unimaginable tragedy." The couple said the 16-year-old suspect has not yet been taken into custody, which they said has left them deeply concerned and troubled. "We believe in accountability and are seeking clarity on this matter," they said, adding, "We are placing our trust in the justice system to pursue the truth with care and integrity. The situation is deeply painful and complex for our entire family," the Kepner said. "Anna was deeply loved, and we remain committed to honoring her life and memory every day." So I do remember covering this story, back in November. And it was obviously a very sad story, but just it felt very, like, open-ended. Like, you had a murder. It was definitely that. But, like, at the same time, their family, what exactly went down. There was, like, a potentially alleged sexual component to it, which is obviously, that's a whole other issue, right? But no, nothing had been actually, concrete, settled. And it's like, okay, we're going to be pressing charges. We're going to be doing this or that. So now that we are going from that to this right now, is at least saying, like, okay, we are going to be moving forward, trying to get justice for Anna Kepner, really getting down to the bottom of the situation and actually, figuring it out in court legally. But like they said, this is a very painful and complex situation. It is a situation where you've already lost a family member, and now you're, the suspect involved in that, potential culprit, is another family member. So it's definitely a situation where it's tough all over, sad all around. But, hopefully going through the trial and everything, we kind of get to the bottom of it and, quote unquote, justice can be, can prevail. I don't know. But we'll see. I'll definitely keep you posted on more of that as it develops. We can move on to our next story from CBS News. Suspect accused of throwing Molotov cocktail at OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's house, charged with attempted murder. A man suspected of throwing a Molotov cocktail at OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's house in San Francisco is facing charges including attempted murder, officials announced, following an FBI raid on his Texas home Monday. The suspect, identified as 20-year-old Daniel Moreno Gama, is facing multiple charges including attempted murder, attempted arson, possession of a destructive device in a public place, possession of a destructive device with the intent to injure or intimidate, exploding or igniting a destructive device with the intent to murder, and attempted criminal threats, along with federal charges of attempted damage and destruction of property by means of explosives and possession of an unregistered firearm. Marino Gamma is accused of traveling from Spring, Texas to San Francisco to target the OpenAI CEO's home and carry out the attack, which took place early Friday morning. An exterior gate caught the fire, but no one was hurt, police said. If convicted on state charges, Marino Gamma could face 19 years to life in prison, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins said Monday during a news conference. I don't know why I paused that way. If convicted on the federal explosives charge, he would face a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years and up to 20 years in prison. And he could face up to 10 years if convicted on the federal possession charge, along with potential fines and supervised release. Marino Gamma was in state custody in California and is expected to make his first appearance in state court on Tuesday. A date has not yet been set for his federal court appearance. Let's see here. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. According to an FBI affidavit, after allegedly throwing the Molotov cocktail, Marino Gamma attempted to go to OpenAI's headquarters, where he retrieved a chair and used it to strike the glass doors. According to on-site security, he said he came to the headquarters to burn it down and kill anyone inside, the affidavit states. Federal prosecutors said San Francisco police recovered a document that Marino Gamma wrote in which he allegedly claimed responsibility for attempting to kill Altman. Argued that that others should commit similar acts, and had a list of other CEOs, board members, and investors of AI companies, according to the affidavit. Officers recovered multiple incendiary devices, a jug of kerosene, and a lighter from Marino Gamma when he was arrested, according to the affidavit. OpenAI earlier said in a statement that the person who was suspected of throwing the Molotov cocktail had also allegedly made threats against the company's headquarters, also in San Francisco. Okay, I'm going to hold my 2 cents here because I kind of want to make like a grand point here or summation, because this kind of dovetails well with the next article we're going to cover. So we're going to just smash cut right into that. Let's see, and this is from Patch. Warehouse arsonist caused $650 million in damage. Attacked America's capitalist values, U.S. attorney says. The suspected arsonist in Tuesday's devastating Ontario Kimberly-Clark warehouse fire faces life in prison amid mounting county and federal charges, authorities announced at a Friday morning press conference. Chamel Abdul Karim, 29, of Highland, is being charged with aggravated arson, a special allegation of causing more than $10 million in damages, and 6 counts of arson, one for each pallet he set on fire, according to the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office. He additionally faces federal charges in connection with the arson of a building used in interstate and foreign commerce and used in activities affecting interstate and foreign commerce. The federal complaint was filed late Thursday. According to the prosecutors, Abdul Karim could potentially be charged with a hate crime. He has prior convictions and was on probation at the time of the fire, according to the complaint filed by the San Bernardino District Attorney's Office. Prosecutors said the most damning evidence came from Abdul Karim, who both recording himself setting fires and posted it to social media and made numerous calls and texts to others regarding his plans. At the Friday news conference, United States Attorney General for Central District of California, Bill Asaley, discussed the mounting evidence. The defendant repeatedly boasted of his crimes. He posted Instagram videos showing himself lighting the merchandise on fire in the warehouse, Asaley said. On video with a wide shot, he had several burning spots that were visible in the warehouse, and you could hear his voice repeating several times, "All you had to do was pay us enough to live." Which I want to stop right there and say that is a banger quote, because it's true. Like, there's so many of these situations where it's like, if we had enough to live, if we had enough to provide for ourselves, and the world was going to be fine, which can be provided for us by the station state. You get to put in and then get out what you need to live, and you're providing service. instead, it's like, nah, we're just going to give you scraps, and you should be happy with that. And you should be happy knowing that the shareholders and the people at the fucking top of the heap are getting theirs, and more so, and only more so. So yeah, I get that frustration, and I get getting to a point where you're saying these things, for sure. The final video posted on Instagram showed the fire spreading throughout the warehouse and the defendant saying, "There goes your inventory." Also, I wanted to stop and say here, the idea that like we are trying to like throw a hate crime on top of this is very crazy. It's very weird. It is giving Mangione, where it's just like, once again, you are trying to pile on this person who's done a thing that you really don't like because, in this situation, I think specifically you can say, because you are trying to defend capitalism. You see what the narrative is. You see what the message is. There's a statement from this person, the suspect, and you're like, we have to quash that. We have to make that like so like apparently evil, and like we have to attack that, eviscerate it. The arson was an attack on America's capitalist values, added Asali, which I'm like, oh, okay, is that the hate crime? He hates capitalism, so therefore we can charge him for that? Like, I'm a bit baffled. I need a detail that I'm missing, I think, to really make that, sink and make sense for me. America is founded on capitalism, Asali said. Anyone who attacks our values, our way of life, our system, which provides goods and services to the most people, we're going to come after aggressively. We're going to fucking take them out. Like, he's saying it out loud. This is very mask off in the situation. The fires Abdul Karim set quickly consumed the $150 million building, resulting in its destruction and total loss of more than $500 million in inventory, including Kleenex, Huggies that are shipped across the country, prosecutors alleged. Abdul Karim was arrested on Tuesday by the Ontario Police Department and remains in local custody in San Bernardino County. He is currently being held without bail and is headed to San Bernardino County Superior Court in Rancho Cucamonga. I always love saying Rancho Cucamonga. To answer multiple charges. According to the San Bernardino County DA spokesperson Jacqueline Rodriguez, charges include aggravated arson with the destruction of over $10.1 million in property. He faces 10 years to life in prison, according to San Bernardino County District Attorney Jason Anderson. In addition to videos Abdul Karim posted on social media, he made statements to others on the telephone and via text messages, boasting about the arson, according to investigators. "I just cost these expletives billions," Abdul Karim bragged to a friend, according to federal prosecutors. 1% is an expletive joke. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. Pay us more of the value we bring, not corporate. Didn't see the shareholders picking up a shift. Fucking fags. Abdul Karim compared himself to Luigi Mangione, the accused murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, said Asali. "A lot of people are going to understand," Abdul Karim told FBI investigators, according to the federal complaint. There's an extremely disturbing trend where people are resorting to violence to communicate political messages or economic messages, said Asali. "I don't know if this guy saw himself as a Luigi, but he's an arsonist. He's a criminal. He's a bad guy, okay?" Like, once again, you are focusing on the villainy of it all, and you're saying the point doesn't matter. In fact, the point matters. It's an evil point. Capitalism is a good thing. It's a great thing. We should be defending it this way. We should be doing this. We should be attacking this man like we're a white blood cell and he's a virus. And it's like, what this guy is saying is that we should all be making ours. We should all be making enough to fucking live and survive. And it's crazy that we are not. It is crazy that every, turn we go to, we are constantly on the precipice, on the edge of potentially losing our way of life. Like, oh, you have a boo-boo, you have an oopsie-daisy, you get in an accident, times just get tougher. Well, you should be eliminated. That's what capitalism says to us on a daily fucking basis. And this is what we're supposed to be defending, and it's supposed to be lionizing. So, once again, I can understand why Abdul Karim gets this way. To reference back to the other thing, I can understand how, Marino Gamma gets to the way that he is. Not, once again, I gotta say this, for the podcaster, asterisk, is this the move? No, I don't think this is actually going to promote the change that you want. You are having an impulsive reaction, whether you are, thinking about this or not, but this is not going to make the change that you want to see. You know, at best, you only get the Luigi Mangione, like, hey, I did the thing. Now, hopefully, you do your thing. And what is that? Just more of this? More death? Like, you want change. At least that's what I want. I want to see a world where we don't have to live like this, where we actually do get what we need to live. But I don't think these knee-jerk reactions are the move. I guess I want to say that there before we get to the end of this article. The affidavit filed with the federal criminal complaint and released Friday outlines how Abdul Karim filmed himself setting fire to multiple pallets of paper goods inside the large distribution center in Ontario on Tuesday morning. And they have pictures of him with his lighter, and then which he has a handle. Let's see, gentleman without a filter. You know, not the favorite, not my favorite, but hey, what can I say? I'm fucking sagacious Zeke on Instagram. I can't really talk shit. Let's see. As he lit the fires, he stated, "If you're not going to pay us enough to expletive live or to afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this expletive." Which you then get to see just more pallets being lit on fire. He's like lighting a fucking Scott roll of fucking toilet paper. So, I mean, it's a scene. The FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Ontario Police Department, and the Ontario Fire Department are investigating this matter. If convicted of federal crimes, as well as his current county charges, Abdul Karim would face an additional mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years in federal prison and a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. So yeah, both of these cases, these guys are looking at a lot of fucking time for what they're, up against, for their actions. And like I said, I'm not advocating it. I'm not saying, yeah, go do that shit, woo. But I am saying, at the bare minimum, I don't think this is hard to understand. I don't think this is hard to grasp. You know, how a person can get this way and feel this way and just have that break where they just say, I'm done. Like, I just feel and I hope that we can all come together, one, to at the very least, at the bare minimum, just look after each other, take care of each other the best we can, because really we are all we have, and if we can at least do best to the person to the left and right of us, then that's something. But, I would hope that, and this is, maybe fantasy utopian thinking, that we all can get together and say, hey, there's so much more of us. There's so many more of us than are these, 1% ass motherfuckers. And if we actually got together and we actually had, like, I don't know, we sat down and actually really made changes and like worked that shit up from the bottom to the top, and we actually had a system that worked for us. I don't care what the fuck you call it, whether you call it socialism, whether you call it whatever the fuck, man. We could be good. We could be taking care of each other in a way that actually works. Our government could be actually helping and facilitating us in a way that would actually be good. I do believe that is a thing. It's not a fantasy. I think that we are kind of led to believe that it is. It's an impossible dream. It's an impossible goal. And you're a really bad guy if you want that. But no, I don't let them tell you that. That's my 2 cents, I guess. But yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break. And then I got a rundown on some bad politicians, that we've covered in the past. Get a little bit of an update. But yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break. Let me take 5. I will say, shout out to the internet. I saw the warehouse story before I even saw it on the news on like Facebook and Instagram, because people were just posting that, like, with that quote, paying us enough to live or whatever. So I was like, damn, like, where's this story? And I Googled it initially. I was looking for it and I couldn't quite find it. And then, as the hours went by in the day, then it started making more rounds and I found it. So I'm like, hey, shout out to the people. The people are talking about this shit. And there's a reason that, once again, these stories catch like wildfire, excuse the pun or not. Because at the end of the day, like, people are aware enough that something is very wrong. Like, if America is so great and we're so prosperous and we're so excellent, why are we in this situation? Why is all this happening? You can't keep blaming this shit on like all these other factors and countries and things like this, when like it's kind of staring you right in the face that it's like, well, the system that we have is just not here to support us. It just isn't. It's here to let you fend for yourself until you can't, and then you die in the street. So, I think people really latch on to these people and they do get championed, they do get lionized because we don't have much else to latch on and really have hope in, except these impulsive acts of violence, which sucks. It's like, once again, I don't, at my core, at my heart, I don't like that. I don't think anyone really wants to see this shit, but they are so sick of being in this situation time and time again and knowing that, the people before them and the people after them are going to continue to be in this. And once again, in the greatest country in the world. So if we can't do it, who the fuck can, right? Like, that's kind of the feeling. And you get so tired. You get so fucking fed up with it. Sorry, I know I'm ranting. I'm just kind of on a scree a bit here, but I don't know. these stories, they definitely bring it out of me because once again, there's a part of me that goes, man, yeah, it sucks. Like I've had these rants where it's like, yeah, we can't do this. Like, this isn't good. They're just going to villainize this shit and make a point of it. And once again, you see these moments where they try to uphold and say, hey, capitalism is right and these things are wrong. And if you go about it like this and you're like this, you're an evil, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, once again, I get where people's hearts are at on it. I just can't stress that shit enough. So, anyway, let me shut the fuck up. All right. So, we're not doing any kind of full reads here. I really think this will actually be pretty quick. But in the cases of Tony Gonzalez and Eric Swalwell, they are both going to be leaving Congress. They're both retiring. Essentially, the heat of both of their scandals, they are individual situations, has hit the fan to the point where they're like facing actual expulsion from Congress. And rather than, actually, leading on that head on, they're going to be like, okay, actually, I quit. I'll leave. Which is probably for the best. I don't think that these people should be in any kind of political power when, like in Gonzalez's case, he, had a whole ass affair with a woman and then that whole thing hit the fan. That person winds up committing suicide. So that's a whole fucking thing right there. And I've been getting a little bit of the lowdown on some of the shit with Swalwell. We didn't talk too many details, but the details are not good. And there's also, like, we've covered multiple situations of this shit. And he goes, hey, I'm sorry for the mistakes I made, but like some of these things are false. Okay, I'm here to fight the false stuff. And it's like, brother, good luck with that, because the shit is mounting. And I obviously do not mean good luck, literally. Fuck this guy. Tomatoes for both these guys. So yeah, I'm happy to see both of these people leaving. I don't care if we're talking conservative or liberal, respectively, between Gonzalez and Swalwell. Fuck them both. Tomatoes for fucking both. So yeah. Once again, not really like hitting them, but I guess you could say here there is an article from The Guardian. Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez says he will resign from the House seat. U.S. Politics Live. And then there's one from the Washington Post. Representative Swalwell Gonzalez signal exit from Congress ahead of possible expulsion votes. So yeah, and honestly, the thing that's fucked up, just talking about Congress, I feel like you should see more of this shit happen when you see like these actual, like, you have these, cases of like any kind of these improprieties, and they play a lot of politics about it, where they go, well, we don't want to lose a seat, we don't want to lose, an actual body that we need for votes, blah, 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 blah. It's like, that shit should not matter when this shit comes to light, right? Like, you should immediately be acting and moving on this shit. And instead, they kind of, twiddle their thumbs, sit on their hands until, enough public discourse is large enough. And they go, okay, we got to do something. We should, like, get the oversight committee together, look into this. Is this where we're supposed to say better late than never? I don't fucking know. But anyway, that is the episode for today. That's all I have. If you'd like to help out support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you like to listen. 5 stars. 5 stars. Always appreciate it on those ratings. But yeah, leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. You don't have to do any of that, though. I really just appreciate you listening to me talk about my day, talk about my hurt mouth, and listening to me fumble around through some news to the best of my ability. So yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.